One.
Hey, what is up? Happy Wednesday. Welcome to Before the Lights on Area 956. Here's where we take an in-depth look at a couple of Valley High School football games before they happen, whether it be Thursday night, whether it be Friday night, or whether it be Saturday night. My good friend Jake Berry joining me. How are you, sir?
I'm doing fine. I'm doing great. 1 week down, the second week looks even better.
That's it. My name is Tony Fortina. Thank you for joining us. And first of all, to those over 3,000 views that we got last week here on Area 956, many thank yous. I think your mom, did she finally watch it?
Yeah, she actually had it on 4 computers. So
Wow. So if the camera adds 10 pounds and she's watching it on 4 computers, is she adding 40 pounds?
I'm breaking a record. Yeah.
I have no room to talk, sir, but I appreciate you taking a hit for the team like that. We're live at UFC Gym in McAllen. This is where we do Before the Lights, and if you're wondering why we do it here, it's because before the lights, you got to get your workout in, and UFC Gym is where it's at. If you're looking for weights, if you're looking for training, if you're looking for Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, if you're looking for MMA fighting, it's all here right behind us. So you'll occasionally get a glimpse of somebody doing some sort of workout, but that's what they're happening at UFC Gym. And it's just south of Nolana on McCall, right before, what street is this? Fern. So it's at the corner of McCall and Fern here in McAllen. If you want to check them out, what's the number that somebody can call for more details?
We'll get it for you in just a few minutes.
And if you want to check them out on Facebook, it is
UFC Gym McAllen.
Do they have other forms of social media as well?
Yes, they've got Instagram,
Okay.
UFC Gym, I believe RGV, and then UFC Gym McAllen on Instagram and UFC Gym RGV on Twitter.
On Twitter. So there you go. If you're looking for a way to increase your workout, you can always stop by here at UFC Gym. Do they have some sort of special that they're running for us?
Yeah, they've got, if you want to come in, you can try out it for, I believe, 10 days. Just say Tony and Jake.
That's it. You don't even have to show them our mug. You just got to come in and say, Tony and Jake sent me to UFC Gym, and they're going to give you a 10-day workout. And speaking of workout, did we get a workout this weekend? This past weekend, is it still considered week 0, or have they jumped up to
No,
week
they go
1?
1 and then 2.
Okay. So now we've jumped up to week 1. Different highlights of the different games that you saw.
Well, I watched a lot of huddle tape on Friday night. I'll tell you what impressed me. First of all, Pioneer,
Right?
playing extremely well. Down 21-7 against Harlingen, a very tough Harlingen team. Pioneer comes back, has a chance to win the game. They don't. They lose by, I believe, 1 point.
1 point, yeah.
So that was a really good game. You were at a game that I was in the truck for, and I did the post game for, which was Brownsville Hannah versus McAllen Memorial.
Yep.
Sensational quarterback over there in Campos. McAllen Memorial has their own stud in Campbell Spates, and their whole team played extremely well. And Coach Littleton going for that pass over the top on the first play.
Yep.
Was
Surprised everybody. The last thing we would expect is Bill Littleton to incorporate a pass play to open the season, but he did, and boom, an instant 6 points. But getting back to Brownsville Hannah's quarterback, Victor Campos, 6 foot 3 inches, 215 pounds, the real deal. I don't know where they found him. I guess he was in the Brownsville system. Very well hidden, but I'll tell you what, if you get the opportunity to see Brownsville Hannah play, do so. And as a matter of fact, at the end of the game, a little controversy.
Mm-hmm.
I have not been able to find the play where the receiver went out of bounds.
Yeah, that would be on huddle, but nobody's sharing that.
Nobody.
But what happened on that play was that Campos, sensational job. Have you ever seen a kid who does not run? He runs, but not to leave the pocket. He stays in the pocket, creates opportunities for his receivers. And on that play, he was whining and dining out there and threw a nice dish. And it was all for naught because the receiver caught the ball, but they deemed him that he stepped out of bounds and it was a legal touch, didn't count.
And it was for a 2-point conversion that would have tied the game.
Yes.
So there may have been plenty of free football that we would never experience had it not been for that judgment call there. But that was one of the games that we were at. Another game that's gotten a lot of attention was Westlake East and Maynard.
Yeah, and here's sensational things. When your linemen get an interception and bring it back in for the score, that's incredible. I got to give it up for the big boys right there, getting that one. But they have some sensational runs. They win in overtime, pick in overtime. So, I mean, what can you say? I mean, Wesco East, coming back when Wesco couldn't get past Rowe, Wesco East was able to beat Maynard.
And speaking of that Rowe-Wesco matchup, one incredible game that was back and forth, under 2 minutes to play. Rowe picks up the go-ahead touchdown, a pass from Jonas Ortiz to Savage.
Yes, Savage, sorry, I wrote that wrong on Twitter.
And we get the good call there, and Rowe picks up the win. So, has it been a while since we've seen all 3 McAllen schools at 1-0?
Yeah, it was a tough week. It wasn't like they're playing, Sisters of the Poor. They're playing some tough teams.
Right. Mac High going on Brownsville Saturday to take on the Brownsville Lopez Lobos. Blew them out 49-7.
Mm-hmm.
Great to see energy, the Mac High Bulldog team. That was a couple of comments that a few of the parents made.
Yeah, Los Fresnos played well.
Los Fresnos, and they hung in there with the big boys too.
Yeah, so it's a big pickup right there for them. And 32-6 looks really good. I think if we're looking at some other games, I think Edinburgh North, they lost to Mercedes, but I think that's a good game for them because, last year they weren't very good. And a lot of kids defected to Vela, Edinburgh High, someone was at PSJ North. They went different places.
Right.
Coach Damien Gonzalez is doing a tremendous job over there. Trying to rebuild that program. They got a tough game this week because they're going to play Mac High, and Mac High's playing well. But kudos to him. I'm giving it up to those guys because they didn't get a lot of love last year.
I thought you were just name dropping.
And Porter goes out and kills my prediction and beats Port Isabel. So
yeah.
Happy for Porter.
How about PSA Southwest?
Oh, yes.
Shared that play where the kid just went over the other guy like a speed bump and just nailed him. But
yeah, it was a truck, and it really was. High knees, right into the chest. But congratulations to PSA Southwest. I don't know if that's their first win on the first game ever for their program, but they beat Economides, and that was the first time they had beat Economides. So I'm not sure how long that rivalry's been going, but it's been a while.
Baby steps. We talked about it last week, how you had some teams that have now reached the spot where they're supposed to be successful, and you've got other teams that are trying to get to that spot where they're supposed to be successful. So we're going to look at a couple of games that are happening Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. And let's start with our first game that we're going to look at, and that is going to be Brownsville Hannah at Edinburgh Veta.
Yeah.
Okay. We talked about Victor Campos, all 6'3", 215 pounds of him. But Edinburgh Veta has a quarterback that's not too shabby himself, and AJ Sotelo, 5'10", 185 pounds, got a good little arm. But this is a Veta team that is anchored by Mr. Bailey, who's committed to TCU on the line, and they just continue to roll. They've when they first launched the program, Coach Michael Salinas knew that it was going to be a building process, and he had to put his players in place, and he had to develop this team from literally nothing because they didn't have a team before. First year 0-10, I think second year may have been 1-9, and then year 3 is when they come on, and they've just started rolling since then, and it's really set the tone for the entire athletic department. They've got success in every facet of their field. But Jay, looking at Brownsville Hannah, you saw them last week in the truck. Looking at Edinburgh Veta, what are your thoughts on this contest?
Well, I don't want to let him kill us for this, but Coach Campbell has taken that, what Michael did, and he's really run with it the last few years. And so, I think that Hannah did a great job in this. Everybody thought, okay, 4 starters returning, they weren't going to be as good.
Right.
And you see them turn around, and they play a very tough game against Memorial. And it wasn't like Memorial was playing poorly on defense. Their quarterback, Victor Campos, did a great job of
extending the plays, and making plays happen where you would think this guy's about to go down. I don't want to compare him to the man, the myth, the legend that is Ben Roethlisberger, but I'll tell you what, the guy had some skills in which you could see he could evade the tackles, he could manage to break free, and he could get that pass off when he had 1 or 2 guys that were on him.
Mm-hmm. And he was really tough. I mean, look, when you're 6'3", 215, puberty. But when you're that size, especially down here in the valley,
right?
At quarterback, it's going to be hard to bring you down. And he did a great job of extending those plays. He hit some dimes. There's one play, if you haven't seen it, I've got it on my Twitter feed. He hit
at 956 Jake.
Yeah. He throws this dime in the end zone. And it was called a pass interference. I didn't think it was a pass interference at all. I think it was just good defense, a better catch. But over the top, he got mossed. You know, it was a great catch over the top of two Memorial defenders. It was a great play for Hannah. You know, I do think that against Vela, you're not going to have those opportunities to extend those plays as many times. You might have one or two, but I think Vela's going to come at you, and they're going to come at you hard. They're probably the most deep team in the Valley, and I think what you see with Vela is that they're loaded, and they know how to play with those loaded players. And so, you know, he's going to have a really good game. But Vela didn't have an easy game against Laredo United. It was 52-47. And that's a close game. I mean, Vela usually, you know, is extending leads,
right,
you know, in the fourth quarter, and it looks like a blowout. This was a close game, so it'll be interesting to see how Hannah comes into this game.
Do not sleep on those Laredo teams. I will be the first one to tell you, those guys, much like 32-6A, in which maybe because they're so, I guess, so far out east, so far out west, a lot of people don't give them a lot of thought and consideration. Those are some pretty powerful teams that come in and will mess up your team as it is now.
Yeah, and Hannah played them well last year. It was a 20-36 game, and I thought, you know, Hannah this year, they may be as powerful with the running game, but I think they can do some. I think they can do some damage against Vela.
Welcome to Before the Lights on Area 956, the Facebook page. Make sure you check us out on Instagram as well at Area 956. Our next game that we're talking about, the Mercedes Tiger brings their roar to McAllen's Veterans Memorial Stadium to take on the Nicky Rowe Warriors. This is your Thursday night game, and this is a road team that needed every minute of that game versus Wesco to pull out the victory. Mercedes 1-0. They beat Edinburgh North. We talked about that matchup earlier. Tell me about their teams and what do you see happening?
Well, Rowe last year, and let's just start with Rowe. Rowe last year lost to Wesco in the first game of the year. I don't think you know what to expect from Wesco, and they just walked into a buzzsaw that was Wesco. This year, better prepared. They knew what to expect from Wesco, and they really played tough. Well, Wesco put up some points, but they still played some tough football against them. And they were opportunistic. Jonas Ortiz had a big, huge 70-some yard run against Wesco, you know, who's fast, really disciplined, and he was able to turn that one upfield, and it was a beautiful score. You know, they played well. Wesco put up some points against them, so so they're not maybe defensively sound as they want to be yet.
Right.
But you know, for Mercedes, you know, they played Edinburgh North the first game, you know, and it's a good game to have because Edinburgh North wasn't as strong last year, but Edinburgh North put some points up against them. I think it'll be interesting to see right away if the offense for Mercedes can exploit what Rowe puts out there, and it's really going to be telling to see Jonas Ortiz, who's just as tall as Campos, he's 6'2". It'll be interesting to see what he can do against Mercedes as far as throwing those passes over the top.
And then he's got to face a pretty impressive linebacker in Brandon Adame, he's coming in at 5'8", weighing in 185, and he's running a 4.9, and kind of anchoring that Mercedes defense and being the one guy that's going to dictate what happens offensively for the Roar Warriors this weekend.
Yeah, and you know, you bring up Adame and Mercedes. They've got 8 starters on defense, or 8 starters on offense returning this year, so they're a veteran team. So this isn't a team that was like last year, where it was a younger bunch.
Right.
They have to play hard, and you know, they had to play hard last year. This year, more discipline. You're not running. You're not losing your gap protection. You're staying in when you have to stay in. You're going out when you have to go out. And so I think for Coach Adame, this team is a little bit more disciplined than probably what they were last year. And it'll be different for Rowe. I'm not saying Rowe's going to lose by any means. I think Rowe's a really good team. I think that the edge goes to Rowe in this game. I just want to see if Jonas Ortiz can put it together. Because they've had bunches where they put like 3 games together.
Right.
I think this could be that trend toward a banner season if he can keep this going.
Last year, Rowe won 47-19. Do you see that being something similar? You expecting Mercedes to tighten it up a little bit? You expecting Rowe to maybe drop it down a little bit?
I'm as impressed that what they did against Wesco Rowe. I do think that you are going into a game where you could have a letdown. You know, you beat Rowe, or you beat Wesco, excuse me, And you come into this game thinking, oh, you know what?
They feel very
They're not going to be
confident.
as good as Westlake, though, so
Right.
we should be able to. And those are where you have your letdown games, and that's where things can happen. One play spirals into 10 plays that just go against you. And so, for Rowe, they've got to be disciplined when they come into this game. They got to know that I can't take Mercedes lightly.
Right.
Because,
If I remember correctly, the term is called quicksand, where one
Yes.
play turns into 10. If I remember my replacement history correctly, that's where it is. Our next contest that we're going to look at is Harlingen South at PSJ North. And we want to welcome you to Before the Lights. We are on Area 956, live from UFC Gym in McAllen. It's at the corner of McCall and Fern. If you come in to UFC McAllen and say, you know what, I was watching on 956, Tony and Jake told me to ask about my 10-day free membership just to try it out, you can do so. If you're coming in, make sure you bring your gloves because we got some Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu going on. We've got weights, we've got bikes, we've got all sorts of, even family training, right? It's called DUTS.
Yeah, they have Family DUT, which is Dynamic Ultimate Training.
Nice.
Yeah, and I have yet to try that one. I did do the boxing class last week, and it kicked my butt.
Did you box against somebody?
Yeah, but she deserved. No, no. Actually, you partner up on a bag, and then you partner up with somebody else. And I have to say, the person I cannot remember her name, but she was really nice to me because I was very uncoordinated because I was so tired I could not hit. I couldn't remember the combinations I was supposed to throw. She was really good. So I plan on doing it again this week. But
can we get highlights of that?
it's low light. Yeah.
Can we throw those highlights on Area 956? All right, let's move on to our next matchup. Harlingen South at PSJ North. I was talking to a coach this past weekend. He says, anytime you play Harlingen South, you have to realize that this is one very physical bunch. And they played, it was their last game, non-district match, going into district, and Harlingen South knocked out 3 to 4 of their players. And this was a good quality team. And to have a physical team like Harlingen South maybe nullify your season in one game, in a non-district game, how do you feel about that?
Well, I think what they did to Edinburgh last week was very telling. There was a lot of turnovers in that game, both sides, but it's an early game, and those things are going to happen. But to win 24-0 against a gritty Edinburgh team, especially one that had turned the tables and was putting stuff together,
Right.
that tells you something. Coach Lakehouse teams are not usually pushovers. I'm not saying they were a pushover last week. I'm just saying the score was very one-sided. And, you see that, Harlingen South can use this as a stepping stone towards other things. Edinburgh's regrouping. But I think Harlingen South really kind of showed something because not giving up any points to Edinburgh, it says a lot.
44-0, is one of those scores that tells a lot about the program. So what do you see with this matchup? If you were to say, hey, PSJ North has got this one, or Harlingen South is going to take this one, what's going to be the key standout?
Well, here's the thing. PSJ North's got 7 players on offense returning. I look at that and I'm like, okay.
There's some experience.
Yeah, there's some experience. Isaiah Ronkel is probably one of the better athletes at quarterback. He runs and he passes, well. It probably runs better than he passes, but you can prove me wrong. But he gallops when he runs. So if he hits the corner on somebody, he's almost like Campbell Spates, maybe not that fast, but he hits the corner and he can go right past people. So that's the thing about PSJ North. And you have to know that Coach Kaufman, he's a McAllen Memorial guy before that.
Right.
He likes to run the ball. So if he has a quarterback that can run, much like his son did for McAllen Memorial, I think that you're going to see Isaiah Ronkel have a really good year because they'll run him like they did with Matthew.
Isaiah is another Valley Giant, 6'3", 200 pounds, but he's taken on Harlingen South, and they've got a standout player of their own in Bennett, the wide receiver, Brady Bennett, 6'3", 220, another Randy Moss type kid. Just throw it up and let me go get it.
Yeah, and he's big, so he's 220. So I mean, you think about that corners are 150, 160, 170 if you're lucky. And that might be generous saying 170, but I think it's all about the pressure. Both teams have 4 returners coming back on defense, so they're not as deep on the defensive side of the ball, either team. So it'll be telling to see whose defense is able to initiate that contact early. And because PSJ North's a tough team too, so whose team's going to be tougher in the trenches.
Right, and we'll have to find that one out when Harlingen South takes on PSA North. And our final game that we're going to look at, was that it? Did we cover all of the games? I got to check the board right here because we're going back and forth. And McCallum Memorial at Sherryland. That is the final game that we're going to look at.
Yeah.
Sherryland, we talked about, they had a pretty good run. Picked up the W 27-13 over Brownsville Pace. McCallum Memorial, Brownsville Hannah. That was a tight matchup, 42-40. That game almost went into overtime. So let's talk about Campbell Spate's performance at McCallum Memorial. And we're going to talk about the other running back as well that I think Campbell really set up. We'll start with Campbell Spates.
I'm going to say this real quick about Campbell Spades. It's like he's ice skating out there. Like, when he hits the edge, you don't know which way he's going to go. All of a sudden he's shifting, he's coming back to the middle, but he sells it. And there's an art form to this. If you haven't seen him run, there's some clips on my Twitter feed. But when he's running and he's hitting the corner, he runs and he's just doing this thing where he slows down enough to do a little shimmy, and then the corner usually bites on it, and he's just taking it right up the field. And it's very it's a veteran move. And yes, he has been starting for 3 years. This is his 4th year starting. So we've grown to see this, and I think some of us take it for granted. But the kid's he's got some moves when he's out there, and what he's doing is incredible. But it's going to be interesting to see if Sherryland can pinch the outside and force him back on into the inside, because he hasn't broken that many from up the middle, but he really hasn't had to because he can hit the outside.
Up the middle was where his brother Trevor, I mean, that's where Trevor really made a name for himself, because I think the difference that I see between Trevor and Campbell Spates, you shouldn't compare the two. They're two different people. Trevor looked to hit you. Yeah. I think Campbell is more about juking and jiving and getting past you in that manner.
Yeah, and he can. That's the whole thing about Campbell's game. And here's one thing about Campbell. He gives all the credit to his line and the team and stuff like that, and that's awesome. And you want that as your running back. But he does, produce a lot of those misses himself too. Right. So there's a good combination of great players on that team that open the holes for him, and he's doing sensational things between where he doesn't have to get contact on every play because he's going to go right past you. Right?
Now, I don't mean to disrespect the young man, but I just know his jersey number. I think it was 21. That I think Campbell set up a lot of plays for. That when Campbell
right up the middle.
Right up the middle. Yeah. This young player, and I don't know if you know his name.
I do, and I just forgot.
Oh, I hate it when that happens. Number 21, McCallum Memorial. We apologize, but this young man he would take it right up the gut, and he would roll. And
he had about 4 plays in a row where he got about 7-8 yards just right up the gut, and it was a nice series.
And it gave Campbell a chance to rest up and to make sure that he was still fresh. And this gentleman came in and just took the ball. On the other side, let's look at Sherryland. They're coming in 1-0 with a Brownsville Pace victory, 27-13. Talk to me about what Coach Adame and the Rattlers are going to have going on this week.
Well, it's a revenge game for them because I remember I did the game last year. Sherryland played a really tough game against McCallum Memorial. It looked like Sherryland was going to win the game. When you have the team that you had last year with Campbell Spades, and at the time Sean Scoogin was healthy. They wound up coming back in that game and winning it. I believe it was 27-21. It's a tremendous game. It's one of those games that Sherryland probably didn't forget. Their players didn't forget. And they're going to be playing at home, and they're going to want to get that revenge on McCallum Memorial. So McCallum Memorial has to treat this as not a warm-up game for Vela, which is next week.
Right.
They've got to worry about, we got to get this victory, and then we'll look at Vela. Don't do that thing where you overlook the next guy.
Right.
And this is a tough game for McCallum Memorial because Sherryland's tough. They run that very quick offense where they're up at the line right away. So the defense is going to get tired, and McCallum Memorial scores really fast. So what you can see is McCallum Memorial's defense on the field more than probably they want to be. But you got to have one of those controlled drives that Bill Littleton likes to do, where it's a 12 series play, or they're a 12 play series where they're just chewing out clock, getting down the field, and then they get that score. Chew up clock. And that's what I love about McCallum Memorial games. I get to leave early. So these Sherryland games, they've got to control the possessions in that game, right? Because I think Sherryland, it remains to be seen what their offense is like. They beat Pace last week 27-13. We don't know how good Pace is yet, so it remains to be seen. We know how good Hannah is now, but Pace. We'll have a better look at what Pace is after this week, and so we'll know how good Sheridan is.
Welcome to Area 956, Jake Berry, Tony Fortina. We've hijacked it to bring you before the lights, before the kickoff of the Valley High School football season, week number 2. We've broken down a few games, those that have the biggest interest. When you look at the schedule for this week, there weren't many games that just it didn't have that meat.
Yeah.
So what we've done is we've looked at these 4 games here. We're open to take your questions. We're going to ask Manny if anybody pops a question up or if we see anything. Eddie is our producer back there. We'll check our phones, although we shouldn't. We can do that right now. But we are live on Area 956. We do this every Wednesday night from 7 to 7:30. We encourage you to join us. And Jake, real quick, before we wrap things up, let's do a quick pick of those 4 games that we talked about. No pressure, no pressure. Let's start with our Thursday night matchup, which is going to be the road game where they play host to Mercedes. Mercedes traveling to McAllen to play at DQ Fan Field. What are your thoughts?
Well, I think it's a tough game for Mercedes, especially because Rowe's playing well coming off that Westville game. Like I said earlier, if they don't overlook Mercedes, if they play them straight up, I think Rowe wins this game. But I do think that Mercedes has every chance that if McAllen Memorial comes out sluggish, they got every chance to win this game. All
right, so Jake is picking Rowe over Mercedes. I agree with him on that pick. Brownsville Hannah at Edinburgh Vela. This is Vela's first home game. They were at Laredo United this past Friday. What are your thoughts on this match?
Oh, Hannah on the road again.
The Road Dogs.
Yeah, the Warriors. So it's gonna be tough for Victor Campos this week. I think Vela wins this game. However, there's a lot of juju in that kid.
Yeah.
I think this could be one of those things where he makes it very close again. We'll see if he has that magic at the end. I got Vela in this game. But I think Vela's beatable early right now. I don't know when district comes, but I think right now they're beatable.
Really?
Yeah, but I don't think they're going to lose. I think Vela wins.
Make sure you direct all those hate tweets at 956Jake, at 956Jake, and let them know that Vela is not going to go to the L column this week. I, too, am part of the SaberCat Nation, and will take that game right there. Harlingen South, PSJA North, at PSJ in the Tri-City.
Well, it's a tough game to pick because both teams I know what to expect out of PSA North. I know that team because I got to see them a couple times last year. I don't know about Harlingen South yet because I really haven't seen Coach Ritchie's teams that much, just on film. I really want to pick them because I've seen them on film and I like them.
You really want to pick Harlingen South?
I do, but I know what I'm expecting out of PSA North. I'm going to go with PSA North. You know that they're going to ground and pound. They're going to get some breakaway plays, and maybe that 1 or 2 passes over the top, 3 passes that are really explosive. I'm going to go PSA North in this game.
All right, I'm going against you. I'm going with Harlingen South. I'm picking the Hawks to come into PSA and pick up the victory over the Raiders. I just don't know if the Raiders have enough there to continue the success that they have had as of late. And lastly, what you going to say something?
No. Lastly, McAllen Memorial and Sherryland. What do you got?
This is going to be one of those matchups, and I know that Coach Littleton will have his team prepared for it. I know that Coach Littleton will make sure that they're not looking past the Rattlers in order to get to Edinburgh Vela, because Vela is that monster nobody wants to see. You put them on your schedule because, in the words of the immortal Ric Flair, if you want to be the man, you've got to beat the man. But I don't know if you're going to go and you're going to challenge him like that unless you're ready. I think Coach Littleton will have the Mustangs ready to go. And Sherryland, Coach Adame, he's always had the success there. I don't think they've got it in them this year.
Okay, this is a tough one because, in the past I've seen Coach Littleton's teams lose 1 or 2 games in the non-district schedule,
right,
and then turn it on come district.
Is this his game where he
I
sets
don't
it
know
up?
because I don't know if it's going to be the Vela game or this game. Because last year, they lost against Hannah, beat Sherryland, lost against Vela. I don't know if this is if they need that at all because this is a pretty veteran team,
right?
But I gotta say, when I look at this, I think that Memorial beat Sherryland. I think it's probably about a 14-point spread on this game.
Not a blowout.
Not a blowout.
Competitive ball game.
But I think it's about a 14-point spread. And nothing against Sherryland. I just think McAllen Memorial, they've got a little something different. They got Zion Gregory at receiver, who, you know, he's almost like he's a speedy receiver. You know, he is explosive on the outside. I can see him being a deep threat, and I really like McAllen Memorial this game.
Listen, if Sherryland can just work the middle of the field, I think they'll stand a very good chance against McAllen Memorial. Is the defense suspect? No. But they do have their lapses. And I think if you can just focus inside the middle of the field, you're going to do all right. Even with that, I think the Mustangs are going to pick up the W and go to 2-0 on the season. But that's it. That's what we're doing. This is Before the Lights. We're live at UFC Gym McAllen at the corner of McCall and Fern, just south of Nolana. He's Jake Berry. I'm Tony 49. You're watching Area 956, and we do this every single Wednesday night. Before the lights turn on at the stadiums, before the PA systems, the band is still practicing, for crying out loud. Hats off to the band kids, because you guys are doing an excellent job. They're still practicing, but we're here talking about Valley High School football. Check us out on Twitter. He's at 956Jake. I'm at 95649. And we want your input. What can we do to make the show better? What can we do to make it flow a little bit more? How can we get you involved in the show?
And if you have highlights or anything that you guys want to send, you know, reach out to us on our Twitter, Instagram. You can go to Area 956 on their Instagram.
You can message us right here at Area 956.
And if you got video from Huddle that you'd like to share with us, you know, reach out to us. We'd love to take it from you.
We'd love to use it on the air, and we'll give you full credit.
Yeah.
Unless we can't.
Yeah.
Yeah. We just have that magic finger where all of a sudden the Huddle's videos appear. But that's going to wrap it up. Week number 2 is in the books. Thank you for being a part of it. Thanks to our guys that are on the other side of the camera. You can't make us look good because we're not good, but they sure can make us sound all right, and we appreciate that love right there as well. You got anything else to say?
No, just best of luck to all the teams this week, and see you next week.
Good luck, safe travels. My son, Beto, celebrates his 16th birthday tomorrow. Love you, Pops. That's why you're the 4th kid right there. But we'll see you next Wednesday, 7 o'clock here on Area 956. Make sure you come back and check us out.